The massive colony ship New Horizon moved through space like a city of metal and glass. 50,000 people lived inside its walls, traveling toward a new planet that would become their home. The journey would take 20 years, and most of the passengers had already been traveling for 8 years. Maya Johnson walked down the long hallway toward Lincoln Academy, the main school on the ship. She moved slowly, her backpack heavy on her thin shoulders. At 16, she should have been strong and full of energy, but the cancer treatments had left her weak. Her synthetic wig sat perfectly on her head, brown hair falling in waves that looked almost real. The school hallways buzzed with noise as students talked and laughed between classes. Maya kept her head down, hoping to reach her next class without trouble. She had xenobiology in 10 minutes, her favorite subject. She loved learning about possible life forms they might find on their new planet. "Look who's here," a voice called out behind her. Maya's stomach dropped. She knew that voice. Brad Collins, the tallest boy in their grade, stood with his two friends, Tyler Mason and Kyle Peters. They had been making her life difficult for weeks now. "Where are you going so fast, Maya?" Brad asked, stepping in front of her. "I have class," Maya said quietly, trying to move around him. "We just want to talk," Tyler said with a mean smile. "You're always so unfriendly." Other students began to notice the conversation. Some stopped to watch, while others pretended not to see what was happening. Maya felt her heart beating faster. "Please, I don't want any trouble," Maya said. "Trouble?" Kyle laughed. "We're just being friendly, right, guys?" The three boys formed a circle around Maya. She looked around for help, but most students were looking away or pulling out their phones to record what might happen next. "You know what I've been wondering," Brad said, stepping closer. "Your hair always looks so perfect, even when you're sick from those treatments." Maya's hand moved up to touch her wig without thinking. "I don't know what you mean." "Come on, Maya. We all know about your cancer, the whole ship knows. But your hair never falls out, never looks messy. That's pretty weird, don't you think?" The hallway was getting quieter as more students stopped to watch. Maya could see her best friend Lisa pushing through the crowd, trying to reach her. "Leave her alone," Lisa called out, but she was still too far away. "We're just having a conversation," Tyler said loudly. "Nothing wrong with talking." Maya tried to step back, but Kyle moved behind her, blocking her escape. She was trapped in the middle of the three boys with dozens of students watching. "I really think we should see what's under that perfect hair," Brad said, reaching toward Maya's head. "No, please don't," Maya said, backing away from his hand. "Don't what?" Brad asked, pretending to be confused. "I'm just curious." Before Maya could react, Brad's hand shot out and grabbed her wig. With one quick pull, he yanked it off her head. The hallway went completely silent. Maya stood there with her bald head exposed, the few thin patches of hair that had grown back clearly visible. Her scalp was pale and marked with small scars from where the medical equipment had been attached during treatments. Brad held the wig up like a trophy. "Look at this. It's not even real hair." Tyler and Kyle burst out laughing. "That's so gross," Kyle said loudly. Maya stood frozen, tears starting to fall down her cheeks. She reached for her wig, but Brad held it away from her. "Give it back," she whispered. "What?" "I can't hear you," Brad said, waving the wig in the air. "Give it back," Maya said louder, her voice breaking. Students throughout the hallway pulled out their phones, recording the scene. Some were laughing, others looked uncomfortable, but no one stepped forward to help. "Here's your fake hair," Brad said, throwing the wig on the floor. Maya dropped to her knees and grabbed the wig, holding it against her chest. She looked up at the crowd of students, all staring at her bald head and crying face. "That's what you really look like," Tyler said. "Pretty scary, right?" Maya stood up slowly, clutching her wig. The hallway felt like it was spinning around her. She could hear students whispering and laughing. Someone said, "Did you get that on video?" Lisa finally pushed through the crowd and reached Maya's side. "Come on, let's go," she said, putting her arm around Maya's shoulders. But Maya couldn't move. She stood there looking at all the faces staring at her, some laughing, some looking away in embarrassment. She felt smaller than she had ever felt in her life. "This is what cancer looks like," she said quietly, her voice barely heard over the noise. Then she turned and ran down the hall, still holding her wig, tears streaming down her face. Lisa ran after her, calling her name. The three boys stood in the middle of the hallway, high-fiving each other as if they had won some kind of contest. "That was awesome," Kyle said. "Did you see her face?" Tyler laughed. Most of the students began to move away, heading to their classes. Some were still recording, planning to share the videos later. Others looked uncomfortable but didn't know what to do. In the back of the crowd, one student had watched everything without saying a word. Zara Williams stood quietly, her dark eyes focused on the three boys who were still celebrating their cruel joke. Zara had been watching these boys hurt Maya for weeks. She had seen them trip her in the cafeteria, knock books out of her hands, and make jokes about her illness. But this was different. This was too much. Zara pulled out her phone, but not to record a video like the other students. She opened a different app, one that connected to the ship's internal systems. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen. The boys were still laughing when Zara walked past them toward her next class. They didn't notice her, and she didn't look at them. But she had seen everything, and she was going to make sure someone paid for what they had done to Maya Johnson. Zara Williams sat in her small room on deck 12, 3 computer screens glowing in front of her. She had been working for 2 hours, her fingers moving quickly across the keyboard. The ship was quiet during the night shift, with most people sleeping. On her main screen, she watched security footage from the school hallway. She had already seen the video 50 times, but she kept watching Brad Collins pull off Maya's wig. Each time she watched it, she felt more angry. Zara opened another file on her second screen. For 3 weeks, she had been collecting information about Brad, Tyler, and Kyle. She knew their class schedules, their room numbers, and their social media accounts. She had screenshots of every mean post they had made about Maya and other students. Her father worked in ship security, and her mother ran the communications department. Zara had learned how to use the ship's computer systems by watching them work. She was good with technology, better than most adults on the ship. She opened a new file and started typing. Brad Collins, harassment record. Below that, she listed every time she had seen him hurt another student. The list was long. 3 days had passed since the wig incident. Maya had not come to school since then. Zara had asked Lisa where Maya was, and Lisa said Maya was too embarrassed to leave her room. "She won't even talk to me," Lisa had said sadly. "She just stays in bed and won't eat." This made Zara more determined to help. She knew what it felt like to be different. As one of the few black students in her grade, she had dealt with mean comments and exclusion. But what happened to Maya was worse. Much worse. Zara clicked on her third screen and opened the ship's internal message system. She had her mother's security codes, which she was not supposed to use, but this was important. She sent a private message to Maya's personal account. "Hi, Maya. My name is Zara Williams. I was in the hallway when those boys hurt you. I want to help. Can we talk?" Zara waited, but no response came. She was not surprised. Maya probably did not want to talk to anyone. The next morning, Zara went to the school cafeteria early. She bought 2 breakfast trays and walked to Maya's family quarters. On deck 8, she rang the door chime. Maya's mother answered. "Yes?" "Hi, Mrs. Johnson. I'm Zara from Maya's school. I brought breakfast for Maya." Mrs. Johnson looked tired and worried. "Maya isn't seeing visitors right now." "I know what happened to her," Zara said. "I want to be her friend." Mrs. Johnson stared at Zara for a long moment. Then she opened the door wider. "Come in." Maya was sitting on her bed wearing a soft hat that covered her head. She looked up when Zara entered the room. "I don't want to talk to anyone from school," Maya said quietly. "I'm not like the others," Zara said, setting the breakfast tray on Maya's desk. "I've been watching those boys hurt you for weeks. I should have done something earlier." Maya looked surprised. "You were watching?" "I see everything that happens at school. Those boys are bullies. They hurt other students too, not just you." Zara sat down in the chair across from Maya's bed. "Tell me about your cancer treatment, and tell me about your dreams for the new planet." Maya looked confused. Why do you want to know that? Because you're more than just a sick girl. You're smart and interesting. I've seen your grades in xenobiology. You're the best student in that class. For the first time in days, Maya smiled a little. I love studying alien life. I want to be the first person to discover new species on our planet. That's amazing, Zara said. Tell me more. They talked for an hour. Maya explained her research ideas about possible life forms in their destination system. Zara listened carefully, asking good questions. Maya seemed to forget about her embarrassment as she talked about her passion. When Zara left, she had learned something important. Maya was not just a victim. She was a brilliant young scientist with dreams and goals. This made Zara even more angry about what Brad and his friends had done. That afternoon, Zara returned to her room and opened her computers again. She had been collecting evidence, but now she needed a plan. She started with the school's social media network. Brad, Tyler, and Kyle had posted videos of the wig incident. They had added mean comments and laughing emoji. Other students had shared the videos and added their own cruel comments. Zara downloaded all of it. Every post, every comment, every share. She saved it all to her private files. Then she accessed the ship's security cameras. The hallway incident was recorded from 3 different angles. She downloaded those videos too. But Zara wanted more than just evidence. She wanted to understand why the boys were so mean. She began reading their old social media posts going back months. What she found made her sick. Brad, Tyler, and Kyle had been bullying other students for years. They made fun of anyone who was different. Students with disabilities, students from other countries, students who were poor. Maya was just their latest target. Zara also found something else. The boys had been planning to humiliate Maya for weeks. In private messages to each other, they had talked about teaching the cancer girl a lesson and showing everyone what she really looks like. It was not a random act of meanness. It was planned cruelty. Zara leaned back in her chair, thinking. She could report all of this to the school principal, but she knew what would happen. The boys would get a warning, maybe detention. Then they would go back to hurting other students. No, she needed something bigger, something that would make sure this never happened again. She opened a new file and began writing. This time she was not just collecting evidence, she was building a case that would change everything. While she worked, her computer chimed with a new message. It was from Maya. Thank you for visiting me today. No one has ever asked about my research before. Would you like to have lunch tomorrow? Zara smiled as she typed back. Yes, and Maya? Those boys are going to pay for what they did to you. I promise. She hit send and returned to her work. Outside her window, the stars moved slowly past as the great ship continued its journey. But inside her room, Zara Williams was planning something that would change the future of every person on board. 2 weeks passed since Zara had started her investigation. She now had files on her computer that contained hundreds of pages of evidence. Screenshots, videos, messages, and detailed reports of every cruel thing Brad, Tyler, and Kyle had done to other students. Maya had returned to school wearing a new wig that her mother had ordered. She walked with Zara between classes now, and the 2 girls had become close friends. Maya still felt embarrassed about what had happened, but Zara helped her feel stronger. I've been working on something, Zara told Maya as they sat in the cafeteria. Something that will make sure those boys never hurt anyone again. What do you mean? Maya asked. I can't tell you yet, but soon everyone will know what kind of people they really are. Maya looked worried. Zara, I don't want more trouble. I just want to finish school and focus on my studies. Trust me, Zara said. This isn't about making trouble. This is about making things right. That evening, Zara sat in her room with all 3 computer screens active. She had reached a crucial point in her plan. Everything she had collected was ready, but she needed to decide how to use it. She could send everything to the school principal, but she had learned that Principal Davis had ignored bullying reports before. She could send it to ship security, but they mostly dealt with serious crimes, not school problems. Then Zara remembered something her mother had mentioned at dinner last week. The ship's communication array was constantly sending reports back to Earth. status updates, research findings, and social reports about how the colonists were doing. Zara opened her mother's work files using the security codes she had borrowed. She found the communication schedules and transmission logs. Every month, the ship sent a detailed report about colony life back to Earth. But there was something else in the files that made Zara stop reading. Hidden in a folder marked Classified Research, she found documents about their destination planet. The planet was not empty. There was an intelligent alien species called the Kethmoran living there. The ship's leaders had been in secret communication with them for months, preparing for first contact when they arrived. Zara read through the files with growing excitement. The Kethmoran had been studying human transmissions and communications to learn about human society. They wanted to know if humans would be good neighbors before allowing them to settle on the planet. According to the documents, the Kethmoran judged other species based on how they treated their weakest members. They believed that a civilization's moral development could be measured by how well they protected their sick, young, and vulnerable people. Zara leaned back in her chair, her mind racing. This changed everything. The bullying of Maya was not just a school problem. It was something that could affect the entire colony's future. She opened a new document and began typing quickly. She would create a complete report about the harassment Maya faced, but she would frame it differently. This would not be a complaint about school bullies. This would be a report about human moral character and social dynamics. Zara worked through the night, organizing all her evidence into a professional document. She included the security footage of Maya's humiliation, screenshots of the cruel social media posts, and evidence that the school administration had failed to stop the harassment. But she also included positive information. She wrote about Maya's brilliant research in xenobiology, her dreams of discovering new life forms, and her courage in continuing her studies despite her illness. She wrote about the other students who had been hurt by the same bullies, and how fear had kept most people from speaking up. Most importantly, she wrote about the choice that humans faced. They could allow cruelty and harassment to continue, showing that they were not ready to join a galactic community, or they could stand up for their vulnerable members and prove that humanity deserved respect among the stars. When she finished the report, it was 30 pages long and included over 100 pieces of evidence. Zara saved it with the title, Human, Social Dynamics Assessment, Colony Ship New Horizon. Now came the tricky part. She needed to get this report to the right people without getting in trouble for using her mother's security codes. Zara accessed the ship's communication system and found the next scheduled transmission to Earth. But she also found something else. There was a separate communication channel that sent research reports to the Kethmoran. The alien species had requested regular updates about human social behavior, education systems, and conflict resolution. The ship's leaders had been sending them sanitized reports that made everything look peaceful and harmonious. Zara realized that the Kethmoran were not getting accurate information about human society. They were only seeing the good parts, not the real struggles and problems that humans faced. She made a decision that would change everything. She uploaded her report to both communication channels. Earth would receive it as part of the regular colony status update, but the Kethmoran would also receive it as a research report about human social dynamics. As she hit the send button, Zara felt her heart pounding. She had just sent evidence of human cruelty directly to the alien species that would decide humanity's future on the new planet. But she had also sent evidence of human goodness. Maya's determination to pursue science despite her illness. Zara's own willingness to stand up for justice. The potential for humans to learn and grow from their mistakes. The transmission would take several hours to complete. By morning, both Earth and the Kethmoran would know the truth about what had happened to Maya Johnson aboard the colony ship New Horizon. Zara closed her computers and went to bed, but she could not sleep. She had set events in motion that could not be stopped. Tomorrow, everything would be different. In another part of the ship, Brad Collins was posting another cruel meme about cancer patients on his social media account. He had no idea that his words and actions were about to be judged by an alien civilization that would determine humanity's future among the stars. The ship continued its journey through space, carrying 50,000 people toward their new home. But now, the question was not just whether they would reach their destination safely. The question was whether they would be allowed to stay when they got there. The alarm bell rang through the entire ship at 6 in the morning. Captain Helen Rodriguez's voice came over the speakers, calling all senior staff to an emergency meeting. Something big was happening. Zara woke up to the sound of her mother rushing around their quarters, getting dressed quickly for work. Her father was already gone, called to security headquarters an hour earlier. "What's going on, Mom?" Zara asked. "I don't know yet," her mother replied, grabbing her communication device. "But it involves a message from the Kethmoran. They sent an urgent transmission overnight." Zara's stomach dropped. She knew exactly what message they had received. At Lincoln Academy, students whispered in the hallways about the emergency. Teachers looked nervous and kept checking their communication devices. No one knew what was happening, but everyone could feel that something important was about to change. Maya found Zara before first period. "Did you hear about the alien message?" she asked. "Yes," Zara said quietly. "Maya, I need to tell you something. What I've been working on for the past few weeks, it's bigger than I told you." Before Maya could ask what she meant, Principal Davis's voice came over the school speakers. "All students report to the main assembly hall immediately. Classes are canceled for the day." The assembly hall buzzed with nervous energy as over 2,000 students found their seats. Principal Davis stood on the stage with several other adults, including Captain Rodriguez herself. "Students," the captain began, her voice serious, "we have received an important communication from the Kethmoran, the intelligent species that lives on our destination planet. They have been monitoring our social communications and have concerns about human behavior aboard this ship." The hall went completely silent. Students looked at each other with worried faces. "Specifically," Captain Rodriguez continued, "they have received detailed documentation about harassment and bullying that has been taking place at this school. They are particularly concerned about an incident involving a cancer patient whose medical condition was used to humiliate her in public." Maya grabbed Zara's hand. She was shaking. "The Kethmoran have informed us that they judge other civilizations based on how they treat their most vulnerable members. They need to see that we can address these problems before they will allow us to establish our colony on their planet." Brad Collins sat 3 rows ahead of Zara and Maya. She could see his face had gone pale. Tyler and Kyle sat next to him, both looking scared. "Therefore," the captain said, "we are implementing immediate changes to how we handle harassment and violence on this ship. But first, we need to address the specific incident that brought this to the Kethmoran's attention." Captain Rodriguez looked directly at Maya. "Maya Johnson, would you please come to the stage?" Maya's hand tightened on Zara's. "I can't," she whispered. "Yes, you can," Zara whispered back. "This is your moment. Show them who you really are." Maya took a deep breath and walked down the aisle to the stage. Students watched her every step. When she reached the microphone, she looked small and nervous. "Maya," Captain Rodriguez said gently, "the Kethmoran have read about your research in xenobiology. They are impressed by your scientific work and your determination to continue your studies despite your illness. They specifically asked to hear from you." Maya looked out at the crowd of students. Her voice was quiet at first, but it grew stronger as she spoke. "My name is Maya Johnson. I have leukemia, which is a type of blood cancer. The treatments make my hair fall out, so I wear a wig. 3 weeks ago, some students thought it would be funny to pull off my wig in front of everyone and laugh at how I look. The hall was completely silent. I was embarrassed and hurt. I wanted to hide and never come to school again. But cancer has taught me something important. Life is too short to let mean people control your dreams." Maya's voice got stronger. "I want to study the new planet when we get there. I want to discover new forms of life and learn how they survive in different environments. Cancer is trying to kill me, but I'm still here. I'm still learning. I'm still dreaming." Students throughout the hall began to clap. The applause grew, louder and louder until everyone was standing and cheering for Maya. Captain Rodriguez waited for the noise to quiet down. "The Kethmoran were right to be impressed by you, Maya. You represent the best of human courage and scientific curiosity." Then her expression became serious again. "However, they were also disturbed by the cruelty you faced and by our initial failure to address it properly." She looked toward the section where Brad, Tyler, and Kyle were sitting. "Brad Collins, Tyler, Mason, and Kyle Peters, please come to the stage." The three boys walked slowly to the front, their heads down. They looked terrified. "The evidence of your harassment is extensive," Captain Rodriguez said. "Social media posts, videos, and witness accounts spanning several months. This behavior is unacceptable in any human community, but especially on a colony ship where we must all depend on each other." She turned to address the entire audience. "These 3 students will spend the next 6 months working in the medical bay, helping to care for cancer patients and other seriously ill colonists. They will learn firsthand about the courage and strength of the people they chose to mock. Furthermore," she continued, "they will have their social media access revoked and will attend daily counseling sessions about empathy and community responsibility." The captain looked directly at the 3 boys. "The Keth Moran believe in the possibility of redemption and growth. This is your chance to prove that humans can learn from their mistakes and become better people." Then Captain Rodriguez addressed the entire school. "But this is not just about 3 students. This is about all of us. The Keth Moran are watching how we respond to cruelty and injustice. They want to see if we will stand up for each other or if we will look the other way when people are hurt." She gestured toward Maya, who was still standing at the microphone. "Maya Johnson shows us what human strength looks like. Now we must show the Keth Moran that we are worthy of the new world they are willing to share with us." As the assembly ended, students lined up to talk to Maya. Many apologized for not helping her when she was being bullied. Others asked about her research and expressed interest in studying xenobiology themselves. Zara watched from nearby, feeling proud but also nervous. Her plan had worked, but now the entire colony's future depended on how well humans could prove. They deserved their place among the stars. The ship continued its journey toward the alien world, but now everyone aboard knew they were being judged. The question was whether humanity would pass the test. 6 months later, the New Horizon approached the blue and green planet that would become humanity's new home. Through the massive viewing windows, colonists could see white clouds swirling over vast oceans and continents covered in strange purple vegetation. Maya Johnson stood in the observation deck with her new friend Zara Williams, watching their destination grow larger each day. Maya's cancer treatments had been successful, and small patches of real hair were growing back under her wig. More importantly, her research on possible alien life forms had impressed the ship's science team. "I can't believe we're almost there," Maya said, pressing her hand against the cool window. "Are you nervous about meeting the Keth Moran?" Zara asked. "A little," Maya admitted, "but mostly excited. They've been sharing data about their planet's ecosystems with our science team. The biodiversity is incredible. In another part of the Mai ship, Brad Collins finished his shift in the medical bay. For 6 months, he had been helping nurses care for cancer patients, elderly colonists, and people with disabilities. The work had been hard, but it had changed him. He walked slowly toward Maya's family quarters carrying a small package. When Mrs. Johnson answered the door, Brad's hands were shaking. "Hi, Mrs. Johnson. I was wondering if I could talk to Maya for a few minutes." Mrs. Johnson studied his face carefully. "Maya, someone is here to see you." Maya came to the door and saw Brad standing there. 6 months ago, she would have been terrified. Now she just looked curious. "I wanted to give you this," Brad said, holding out the package. "I made it in the workshop during my free time." Maya opened the package and found a small wooden sculpture of an alien creature. It had multiple eyes and tentacle-like arms, carved with incredible detail. "It's based on one of the life forms you described in your research paper," Brad said quietly. "The one you think might live in the purple forests." Maya stared at the sculpture in amazement. "This is beautiful, Brad. You made this yourself?" "I've been learning wood carving from Mr. Chen in the workshop. He says I have good hands for detail work." Brad looked down at his feet. "Maya, I need to say something to you. What I did to you was terrible. I hurt you because I was angry about things that had nothing to do with you. Maya listened without interrupting. Working in the medical bay taught me something, Brad continued. All those patients, they're fighting battles I never understood. They're braver than I ever was. You're braver than I ever was. Thank you for the sculpture, Maya said. And thank you for apologizing. Brad nodded and walked away. Maya watched him go, holding the wooden alien in her hands. 2 weeks later, the ship entered orbit around the planet. Captain Rodriguez announced that a Keth-Moran delegation would come aboard for the official first contact ceremony. The main hangar bay was transformed into a meeting hall. Hundreds of colonists gathered to witness the historic moment. Maya stood near the front with the other science team members, wearing her best clothes and a new wig that perfectly matched her growing hair. Zara stood with her parents in the security section, watching everything with pride. Her quiet investigation had led to this moment. The Keth-Moran ship docked with a soft vibration that ran through the New Horizons hull. When the airlock opened, 3 tall alien beings walked through. They were humanoid, but clearly not human. Their skin was pale blue and they had 4 arms instead of 2. Their large eyes showed intelligence and curiosity. The lead alien wore robes decorated with symbols that seemed to shift and change color. "Greetings, humans of the colony ship New Horizon," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Kethval of the Keth-Moran Collective. We welcome you to our star system." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Thank you, Ambassador. We are honored to meet you and grateful for the chance to establish a colony on your world." Ambassador Kethval looked around the assembled humans. "We have been studying your species for many months. We have seen examples of both cruelty and compassion among your people." The hangar fell silent. 6 months ago, we received documentation of serious harassment targeting one of your sick young people. This concerned us greatly, as we judge civilizations by how they protect their most vulnerable members. The ambassador's large eyes found Maya in the crowd. "However, we also saw something remarkable. We saw humans capable of learning, growing, and making things right." Ambassador Kethval walked toward Maya. "Maya Johnson, your research on xenobiology has impressed our scientists. Your courage in continuing your studies despite your illness has impressed us even more." Maya felt her heart pounding as the alien leader stopped in front of her. "We would like to offer you a position as the first human liaison to our research institutions. You would work directly with our scientists to study the life forms of our shared world." Maya's eyes filled with tears of joy. "I would be honored, Ambassador." The alien turned to address the entire crowd. "The human who documented the harassment and brought it to our attention also impressed us. Zara Williams showed us that your species has individuals willing to fight quietly for justice even when it is difficult." Zara felt hundreds of eyes turn toward her. She had never told anyone outside her family about sending the report to the Keth-Moran. "Your response to this crisis showed us that humans can acknowledge their failures and work to correct them," Ambassador Kethval continued. "The 3 young males who caused the harassment have spent months learning empathy through service to others. They have shown genuine change." The ambassador looked at Captain Rodriguez. "Therefore, the Keth-Moran Collective grants permission for your colony to be established on our world. We look forward to learning from each other and building a peaceful future together." The hangar erupted in cheers and applause. Colonists hugged each other and cried with relief and joy. Later, as the celebration continued, Zara found Maya standing alone on the observation deck, looking down at their new planet. "How does it feel to be humanity's first alien diplomat?" Zara asked with a smile. "Scary and amazing," Maya replied. "I keep thinking about that day when Brad pulled off my wig. I wanted to disappear forever. Now I'm going to be studying alien life forms as my job." "You earned it," Zara said. "Your courage and your brilliance earned it." Maya looked at her friend. "What you did, sending that report to the Keth-Moran, that was incredibly brave. You risked everything to help me." "I risked everything to help all of us," Zara corrected. "The Keth-Moran needed to see who we really are, both the bad and the good." Below them, their new world turned slowly in the light of its alien sun. Purple forests covered vast continents and strange cities glowed softly near the shores of silver seas. Ready to explore a new world? Maya asked. Ready, Zara replied. The two friends stood together, watching their future home grow larger through the window. Behind them, 50,000 humans prepared to begin a new chapter of human history, earned not through conquest, but through the quiet courage of a girl who refused to let cruelty go unchallenged.